Thank you for listening to Dialogues on Democracy, featuring stories and expertise from over 25 years of supporting sustainable democracy. I'm Joseph Marcus. Post-election claims of fraud can destabilize governments, undermine public trust, and engender violence. IFES has been a pioneer in developing new standards and tools to detect and address potential vulnerabilities in the electoral system. These tools are the result of years of comparative research. For this episode, I spoke with IFES experts, Katherine Ellena, Juliette Schmidt, and Typhaine Roblot, who have all used these tools in different ways. Hi, Katherine.
Hi, Joseph.
Katherine, please describe the 7 standards of GUARDE.
So the GUARDE standards are drawn from key fundamental principles that are outlined in international instruments. The standards range from the fundamental right to redress through to the need for established burdens of proof and standards of evidence. GUARDE also provides case studies and comparative examples to illustrate these standards in action and how they can be applied in a variety of different contexts. But GUARDE draws these principles together in a way that is designed to be useful for a variety of audiences. This includes lawyers, legal scholars, the media, civil society groups that are focused on advocacy and training in this field, but particularly for election administrators and those who design electoral complaints adjudication systems.
Can you give us an example of how the GUARDE standards were used for assessments?
Most recently, I visited Cambodia. Different groups in Cambodia are looking at electoral reform issues more generally, with a view to resolving the current political gridlock and to improve the democratic process for voters and candidates. The key challenge I've found for complaints resolution in Cambodia is ensuring an impartial and informed arbiter, which is one of the key standards of GUARDE. Different stakeholders in Cambodia have highlighted challenges with the independence of responsible electoral bodies and also the judiciary. If there's political will to ensure independence, then there are many different ways to ensure an impartial, informed arbiter.
Juliette, Katherine mentioned that the GUARDE standards can be used to inform training programs. Where has this been done?
In the Maldives, IFES used GUARDE standards to inform a training process involving the Election Complaints Bureau, both at the national and at the local atoll levels. These trainings shared international best practices on topics such as who has jurisdiction to handle election disputes or what type of evidence is required to file or resolve a dispute. Case studies were also used in the training so that participants could experience firsthand how different election complaint standards could yield different results. This type of experiential training model enabled the trainees to make informed decisions regarding which standards would be most effective in the Maldivian context.
How did the participants react to the training?
For Maldivian participants, the training provided an opportunity to think through various scenarios, from frequently received complaints to more complicated examples that were unique to certain parts of the country, and to agree on an approach to respond to complaints that was best suited to their current context.
Typhaine, let's focus on your experience in Afghanistan for the most recent elections. What were some of the key challenges?
One of the first challenges for the Election Complaints Commission in Afghanistan was the establishment of a clear and stable regulatory framework. The Afghan electoral law actually provides for the adoption of regulations, procedures, and guidelines by 90 days prior to the election day. And the ICC was actually operational only 5 months prior to the elections. Another challenge is the establishment of the 34 provincial offices across Afghanistan, which of course raised the issue of the consistency of the complaints process and the decisions. And IFES assisted the Central Complaints Commission issue instructions and guidance, try to ensure that the decisions in Zabul province, Herat, or Paktika would be consistent with each other.
Let's talk specifically about setting standards of evidence and burdens of proof, which is the 5th standard. Can you tell us about how these evolved in Afghanistan?
In 2009 and 10, the ECC actually relied on clear and convincing standard of evidence. In 2014, the Election Complaints Commission decided to rely on clear, valid, credible, without confusion standard of evidence to prove the occurrence of a violation. ICC clarified the burden of proof lies with the complainant, and for the first time, the ICC conducted a series of open sessions where the candidates, agents, or complainants were given the opportunity to present their arguments and provide evidence. Despite the security threats, these sessions were actually well attended and definitely participated in enhancing the transparency of the Complaints Commission activities.
Typhaine, can you give us some final thoughts on GUARDE?
I had the opportunity to be involved in the drafting of the GUARDE back in 2009 and 10, and it's been interesting to tie together those GUARDE principles with technical assistance or advisory projects to election complaints bodies, such as in Pakistan or in Afghanistan, but also interesting to conduct election dispute resolution assessments in Georgia or Bangladesh.
Thank you, Typhaine.
Thank you very much, Joseph.
For more information about IFES's work with election dispute resolution and GUARDE, please visit www.ifes.org.